Howdy crowdy, howdy crowdy. This is TechCringe and my name is Klaus. A year ago I bought this new essential phone. It was the latest and the greatest. There was a huge hype about this phone. The internet was going totally berserk and totally crazy about how great this phone was supposed to be. It had all of the top specs. It had dual cameras, which was like a first. It had a notch. That's like the first phone that actually had the notch. And this notch isn't that big. It's actually pretty small. And it was great in so many ways. The build quality is super. It's made out of titanium. It has a ceramic back that's almost unbreakable. It has a great screen. It has a Snapdragon 835, the latest and greatest a year ago. But it never really got there. There's some background maybe. First, the Android system was made for phones. In the start, Android was created for digital cameras.
I can't speak English.
Sorry about that, guys. Digital cameras. And Andy sold the operating system to Google. And obviously he was part of the deal.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
So we started to work at Google, created lots of cool things, released the Android operating system.
Sexually harassed someone.
Got sacked, got a shitload of money. And went ahead and started Essential to make the best Android phone ever. And he almost nailed it. Almost. Because there was one huge lack on this phone. And it was the camera. This camera has been the most hated camera in a mobile phone in mobile phone history. Every reviewer on the internet totally dissed this camera. Everyone said it was a total disaster.
So I feel pretty safe saying you're not going to want to buy this phone for the camera.
A lot of people buy a smartphone for its camera quality. This is one where it's not that great.
What is this? This guy should know his shit. But he clearly didn't. They pushed out update after update. It got pretty stupid after a while. There's updates every week to get the camera working. And people lost interest. And now Essential is out of business basically. And there's no new release of Essential 2 phone. And yeah, it's just a sad story.
Hello darkness, my old friend.
But now Google comes around and releases a new software with a night sight camera.
Because the night belongs to us.
For the Pixel line. And I'm like, I wonder if this would work on an Essential phone. And you know what? It does.
Happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, happy, joy, joy.
And I installed APK. You can download APK in the description below. This is now like the best phone at the best value you can get. Right now, at $500, this is like a value proposition you couldn't even imagine. So I'm like, I wonder how this would fare against like a Pixel 2 XL, a P20 and an iPhone. And I have them all. I took all 4 phones and I went out and I made a picture taste.
This is a tasty burger.
You can find all of the pictures in the link below. There's a link with all of the pictures from all of the cameras. But I thought that the most interesting thing would be to try this over-a-year-old phone against the latest and greatest, the iPhone XS. How will this $500 phone fare against this $1,000 phone just with the software update? I put one in each pocket, went out, picked up the phone, pointed and shot. And let's take a look at the results. Yeah, the first picture is taken with the PH-1 with the G-Cam, with the night sight software. And it's actually pretty decent. You can see some details in the house. The details on the sign is actually pretty good. You can see the leaves that's sticking onto it. And there's a bit of an overexposure in the or lens flare in the left corner, as you can see. But it's actually pretty good. It's decent. It's better than these. It's really good, actually. The second picture is the complete stock picture. It's much darker. It's actually a pretty big difference between the Google app and the stock app. And the iPhone picture obviously is a bit better. It has more detail. It's not overblown like the PH-1 picture. But I mean, the difference between those two pictures isn't that big. So next picture. It's a picture of a BMW. And I mean, really, this is pretty damn good. You can see the small details in the water drops. There's a huge amount of detail in the wheel arches. There's glare, and it's really, I mean, this is impressive, really impressive. If you compare it to the picture from the stock camera app, you couldn't even believe it's the same camera. And it's fuzzy, and this is the best picture I got out of the PH-1 with the stock software. And looking at the iPhone picture with the iPhone XS, looking at the actual car while standing there, the PH-1 is actually more, it's actually better. This is a little bit too saturated, I think. And there's a lot of detail in this picture as well. Obviously, you can see the small ice flakes on the window. But I mean, come on, there's like a price difference of $800. That's a lot of money. Yeah, and then we have my booze. There's a picture from the Gcam, and with night sight, it's actually pretty sharp. You can see the letters, you can see the details in the phone jack, you can see the details in the bottles, and the shadows are pretty sharp from the light coming from behind. This is a really good picture. Looking at the Gcam, the ordinary Gcam without night sight, it's also pretty decent. It's actually really good. A little bit less detail, a bit underexposed, but still a really good picture. Looking at the stock camera, it's not that big of a difference in this picture. I think actually the stock picture is really good as well from the PH-1. I've taken 5 pictures in the total, and I've picked the best one. This is actually worse than the one coming out of the PH-1. That's cool. I mean, that's amazing. And this is just a software update. The hardware in this one, I think it's actually a black and white camera in this one as well. I don't know if it's using both cameras. Okay, next picture. I took this picture because it's a bit busy. It's branches or a bush, and as you can see, the picture taken with the PH-1 with the Gcam is really, really good. It's kind of sharp. It's taking up the greens really well. There's a lot of detail in the asphalt in the background. There's sharp edges on the bicycle. If you compare it to the stock picture is way worse. It's underexposed. There's a lot of, there's like not that much color in it. And it's a bit blurry. And the iPhone X has a tighter angle on there, not as wide of an angle on the lens, and I actually moved a little bit. But this is clearly the best picture. Then I went to the shirt, and the first picture taken with the PH-1 and the Google app. This is amazing. It's really, really good. It's pretty sharp. Okay, there's some blur to the trees, obviously, because the wind is doing that to the picture. You can see the details really, really good. Then I zoomed a little bit, and 2x zoom, and this picture on the PH-1 is really good as well. It's amazingly good. If you compare it to the stock picture is way overblown. This is not a very good picture. It's there's no details and lots of noise. Obviously, in this case, the iPhone camera is the best picture. So, what the fuck? So, should you sell your iPhone XS and instead use this Essential PH-1 that's over a year old? I wouldn't recommend that. If you have the money, the XS or the Pixel 3 or the
The P20.
is obviously the better pick. But if you only have $500 and you want to try something that's really interesting, if you want the real stock Android experience, because this is a stock Android phone, and if you only have $500, and if you really like great build quality, this is clearly a contender. This is actually even better from what I think than the OnePlus 6T. And now the camera is decent thanks to Google. So Andy, they got it right. You didn't. And this is now a recommendation.